I could literally talk about this one thing after another. Chiropractic college did not prepare me to be a software CEO.
No.
However, it gave me the insight that CEOs don't have on
Yeah.
what does a clinician need, just like you.
Welcome to Genesis Nation, where we are leveraging technology to help our customers and chiropractors build their dream practices. And I am really honored to have my old friend, colleague, student, clinician, and mentor, Dr. Joe Ferrantelli with PostureCo. Very quick history. I mean, Joe and I met each other probably the first week I came to school at the CBP Club.
Yeah.
He took me under his wing real quick. Was my at the time was my fiance's chiropractor in outpatient clinic, and then was my chiropractor in student clinic, and then passed me all that stuff. So, and
Yeah.
we helped build the CBP Club and together and work together hand in hand. I learned a lot from this guy, and what's really cool is that we started marking X-rays with red and black wax pencils and
Yep.
plastic templates created by Don Harrison.
Yeah.
And now we've got AI doing this for us. So today we're really going to talk about how you have leveraged technology. I'd love, before we jump into the actual product of Posture and Posture Screen and those things, if first of all the stuff is integrated with Genesis. That's the easy part.
Right.
But tell me more about how did this happen? Because I watched it, but I would love to hear it as the story. Like, you went from chiropractor to tech maven. So
yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. So back when we were in school, right, we had the club, and I was always interested in technology. You know, it was basically my history was I was a musician, drummer that was supposed to be a professional drummer, and then I pivoted to go into healthcare. I was always interested in chiropractic because my powerlifting team had a chiropractor, and I was never in pain, but I noticed when I would go to a chiropractor, or the chiropractor adjust me or adjust my family, I would squat better. I would do all these things. I would be stronger. And my dad was a huge proponent of it. And it was always go to the chiropractor first, right? That was like our only doctor. I mean, we had, regular GPs, but and I didn't even know the basis of chiropractic. He told us some things, but in hindsight, he should have probably shared a little bit more. But the one piece of insight that he gave me when I decided that I was going to make a pivot in my junior year in college, which upset my other mentors from music, which was kind of funny, and made my chiropractor happy, was he goes, "Hey, you need to check out this chiropractic biophysics and this Don Harrison when you get to school, because I've been in practice a long time, and his dad was an osteopath, and he goes, this stuff is going to change the profession, and it's reliable and valid." So when I got to school, I kind of checked it out and learned from my mentors, like, Lenny Siskin and some others that took me. And then, of course, I met Deed, who became like a brother to me. And so what had happened is, just like anything, when we're building, we're passionate about what we're learning. I was in club, and, that we had, to this day, I don't think, of course, the school was big back then. Yeah. I don't think there's ever been clubs kind of like those clubs that we had back in the day, where we would have 80 to 100 people in Life University CBP club.
When I started as, first quarter, it was a training ground. Like, it was a dojo for public speaking, technique, adjusting, X-ray, education, all of it. And it was run like, I know Dee does a phenomenal job at running the seminars, but it was really cool.
But we picked, we would identify people and identify, hey, this guy has, just like a business, we would identify, hey, that guy has a knack for, like, you taught rheology. I remember, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
that's a blast for the past
there. Yeah. So there's we ran it that way, but interestingly, this was during the internet somewhat boom.
Yeah.
right? Going back then.
Late
And websites were
early 2000s.
Yeah, websites were coming on. I remember I was using my old roommate's Pentium 166 computer
I remember
to
that
help
guy.
make flyers.
He was a sales
Yeah.
guy, and then you got idealspine.com. I remember that.
Yeah. So basically, we were sitting around. This is the long story that nobody ever knows. This is the stuff I probably need to share this.
We're putting
Yeah. So this would be good. So we're sitting around, and I'm like, hey, you know what? The club needs some websites, and we were all brainstorming. I go, huh? We were at like this little coffee place that was down by the We used to have seminars and stuff there.
Yeah. Where Dr. Guy's place was down there too.
Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy the name idealspine.com, and then I'm going to buy the name normalspine.com. And so we made CBP Club's website, idealspine.com. Then at that point in time, the history is the history, regardless of how supportive life is now. The history is the history. Back then, they were not very supportive of chiropractic biophysics technique or some other techniques. And I think the reason was it's probably us students that kind of didn't have the best politically correct way of addressing teachers when we knew there was a better way.
We both learned a little more empathy in our older ages, approaching 50 here. I would rather debate. I was trying to debate teachers versus actually having dialogue with them. So I think I should call them back now. But
and apologize. Well, what's kind of funny is that fast forward, all those teachers have over the years reached out to me directly and literally said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Actually, a couple of them are our biggest supporters now, awesome. which is crazy. One of the teachers that gave me the hardest time, which I'm not going to name their name, is now one of our biggest supporters ever.
That's cool.
So anyway, the school, whoever it was, basically said, oh, no, you can't have a website for the club. And I'm like, you can't say that. That's unconstitutional. You can't tell me what I can and can't have. You can control what we do on campus. You can't control what we do on the World Wide Web. So at a seminar, I happened to bring this up. I started becoming friends with Don Harrison, and I became friends with him. And I go, hey, Don, the craziest thing happened. I'm trying to promote this stuff, and the school told me we can't have a club website. And he goes, well, you know what? We don't have a website. Let's make this the official website. You are now the webmaster. That's what they call it. That's what they call you kids, right? Literally, it was that. It was Don Harrison's foresight that gave me the beginnings of this with Deed and Sang Harrison, right? So at that point in time, I became the quote webmaster, and you'll hear Deed make jokes about this now, and you could probably bring it up if you talk to him. And so I became the tech guy. Then I started noticing that we needed other things. And since Lenny Siskin forced me to learn how to do some of this other tech stuff, I got back into my passion, which predated me, back to when I was a kid, because that was going back years. I was a techie. And so I got back into it, started designing posters for CBP, videos, PowerPoints with a collaboration with Deed Harrison. So we started developing products. And then from that standpoint, in the early 2000s, right when I graduated, I went to Don. I said, Don, you want us to give reports to patients? And he had Deed and I taken photographs of our x-rays and put it into a Word document, which was fantastic. But it took 20 minutes to 30 minutes to do a document. But boy, you gave that document during an ROF to a patient, man, it was a referral magnet. Yeah. So I would stay there for hours getting caught up with patients and using a template and taking photographs. And I came to him and I said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna hire a programmer. I think we could automate just this part. And then I realized, it was cost prohibitive really fast. Programmers were, before I knew it, I was down thousands of dollars and had no product. And Don said, hey, don't worry. This is long before, we're not there yet tech wise. I explained to him what I wanted to do was take what we had for research and use that code, that basis, to speed up what we can do for a clinician and have a patient report and a doctor's report. And the same thing around that time was we had posture software. There was posture software out there, but it was very clunky.
Yeah.
And it was also not tested for reliability and validity. So I went down that road, and then we had to put it on pause until about 2006-ish. And we all got together, and basically my company now was a spinoff from what we all got together, talking Don Harrison, Deed, Sang, a lady named Denise Perrone, myself, and I was the product manager.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, around the time my app was starting to come out, like I went to Don Harrison before he became ill, and I said, I have this idea. I'm going to take the iPhone and iPad and redo what we have for posture, because what we have now, reliable and valid, it's way too slow.
Yeah.
And I had it for free in my clinic, and my staff didn't want to use it because it took 10 minutes to do a posture exam. Right.
So I'm gonna pivot us a little bit, because I know everybody, I can sit here and talk to you for hours, but we'll have to pick that up live. But so fast forward us now to what PostureRay looks like, because now you've got PostureRay, which digitized
is the X-ray.
So that not only provides an excellent clinical resource for individual practitioners, but it's helped all of the research and data that's been done with over 300 published studies through CBP nonprofit.
Correct.
Now you have Posture Screen, which allows you to look at A to P and sagittal postures, and with reliability and repeatability. So personal trainers can use it, chiros can use it, PTs are using it, and then you have the range of motion. Is that all? Is
that just came out? Yep, that's all in the same app.
Range of motion, as well as you even have something that measures people's clothing. So can we do you can help?
Yeah. So I could literally talk about this one thing after another. Chiropractic college did not prepare me to be a software CEO.
No.
However, it gave me the insight that CEOs don't have on what does a clinician need, just like you, right? So you working with Genesis, what the struggles are. Yes. You can't duplicate that. A salesperson can't, right? So that's where I came up with this.
User interface and user experience, like you as a clinician. So can you do a screen share? Because I would love.
Yeah.
I want to see the AI, because and some of my old CAs would love this, because they used to before they were doing. I definitely trained some people to do the wax pencil and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I was training them to do dots, and we were doing it with a mouse, not even a pen. So this is just a huge, the way that you've implemented artificial intelligence to this is just brilliant, man.
And do you see my screen now?
Yep, got it.
Okay. So I'll get back to this. So range of motion just launched for the cervical spine. We're doing other things as well too. All that's on the website. But what Dr. Brian is asking me is, this is PostureRay. It runs on Windows. And traditionally, we had to mark and digitize all these points. So now what we'll have is basically the CAs are trained to basically put this box around C1 through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then put the box around. Hopefully this works. I haven't even, I have a beta version that is a test version. There we go. It worked.
Oh my God. Wait, hold on. I'm not wearing a watch, but we didn't time that. I mean, man, I'm going back 10, 15, 20 years, and this software's been around for 15 years.
Yeah.
But I was literally, I don't know if everyone can see my mouse here, but you would have to click each corner of the vertebral bodies, and it was insane and this is immediate. You have such a great presentation for reported findings if you're doing
because this creates all the reports. But what doctors don't know is it measured all the angles, segmental translations, all the lines of mensuration, and we do that for all X-rays. But if the doctor sees that they want to correct and move a point, they can. So what's cool about this is that if I want to bring the posterior body margin or the posterior spinal laminar line down just a little bit on Atlas, the computer vision we have programmed will actually see trusted clinicians when they move dots, and then we retrain the models to get better over time. Right. Cool. So what's unique and different about this, as I steal Dr.
I
Fred's
heard you.
line, unique and different.
I got it. I knew it. I didn't even say it. I was just I let it seep in.
Yeah, is that we're positioned uniquely compared to just an X-ray vendor or anything like this. Which I should probably tell, I was just awarded the patent in the United States for this technology. So I'm the patent holder, the real patent, not a patent pending. It's a real patent on this. And we have research projects that are based on this. I'm in a large scale study right now where I'm testing 250 X-rays twice, comparing it to the computer against itself, different things like that. And to make it better and better and better. So we're applying that to lateral, lumbar, flexion, extension, cervicals, lateral cervical, as you saw. Right now, I'm testing the lateral thoracic, which is the toughest X-ray to do for a clinician. It will mark, to mark it now.
That film in itself, or that area, has such huge overall systemic health implications, with the study just coming out with fibromyalgia relation to posture, with cervical retention relation to hyperkyphosis. Amazing stuff coming out. So from a clinical perspective, can you talk to me just a quick bit, because we got the lateral cervical up here. Obviously this guy looks like, our gal looks like they had some whiplash in their past. Can you just give me a tidbit on how successful your docs have been using PostureCo for personal injury cases?
Yeah, I mean, personal injury, like I always tend to say, is personal injury is just how they pay. It's your care, regardless if they're a cash patient or not, should be the same regardless. So you need to do this regardless if they're PI, workers' comp, Medicare, or free patient, right? To know what to do with them. But for a med legal case, guess what this does? This documents the heck out of a case to where if I came in and generated I don't even know if I have this done here. I didn't even check this exam, but it will generate the documents for us to be able to open up and have documents ready to go. So that way, if this was a med legal case, the attorney would be able to have something like, or a patient, this, and of course it can be branded. Obviously, I'm not Modern Chiropractic Center.
Thank you, Joe Betts.
Yeah, that is Joe Betts' clinic.
No.
But what's nice is that, so for the patient, they get something that says normal versus them, and then you customize the notes, but it pulls the data from what you digitize to talk about instability for things for the patient. Now, these are all different people, by the way, but every X-ray has a normal. But what's awesome is that for the same thing, you actually have clinical notes. So now, not only do we have a picture automatically done that was done with the AI that the clinician always checks. Remember, it's your butt on the line, regardless if you use AI or you have a staff member. You need to double check these points and make sure it was correct, right? Just because they're a doctor measuring it. Back in the day when we used a protractor, did it mean that the protractor was bad if the doctor made a mistake? No. So it's the same thing, right? So what's cool about this is that it breaks it down. We have average normal angles, then we have ideal values for every level, and then we have the patient values, and then a percent difference at every single level, all the lines of mensuration, and literally it puts it in text. And then of course you can put in most importantly, you put in your pathology. Like I put disc thinning, yada, yada, yada. So it becomes a complete medical report. Awesome. So then you can take these documents, send them to Genesis, store them in Genesis. And then from there, you could just say in the report builder for Genesis, see radiographic report on file. And it saves so much time from that aspect. And of course, this goes in. And then what's nice with this is that now, of course, you have the ability to pull up a person, and we have the ability to do this in the cloud as well as through a browser. But then you have a view box to be able to educate the patients and show them their problems in real time for your ROF. Awesome. So you get the reports and then the view box, and then you can do comparisons. And now you're documenting your care. You have documents to build your practice, document your care, but most importantly, you know what to do to help the patient because you have the measurements that dictate your care. That's the most important.
Pre and post films, if you are doing
So like, I think if we go in, I may even have somebody that was pre-post if I do, and I think usually I have somebody that's called cervical. Let me see if I have one, if it's in this database or not. It might not be in this one, but we'll see.
Well, for time's sake, Joe, can we, Doc, can we jump over to some of the posture screen stuff? Are you got it? You want to show me?
Oh yeah. I'll just show this real quick. See if there's that's what happens in CBP care. So I'll just share that. You saw that? Yeah.
Plug, it's there. We have a wide range of chiropractors doing a lot of different stuff. So this is, Genesis is
and I get nothing if you go to a CBP seminar, by the way. I'm paid if you show up. Don't tell Deed this, but I get paid if you show up or not. But full transparency, I have to promote it because it's kept me from being a medical doctor, and it's the way of the future. And it doesn't change anything that you do now. You do the traditional chiropractic care now.
This is just really my goal is to share with Genesis Nation all the options of technology that are able to leverage your practice.
Right. So you wanted me to go into this. So this would be our app. It runs on iOS, and you can do movement screens, like a functional movement type of screen, which we do, as well as posture, and it uses AI. So for instance, if I pull up, let me pull this person up. If I pull her up, we can go ahead and not only document that she's crooked, but it digitizes all these points, and now I can generate a document that pushes into Genesis that the patient, again, can have, that goes home with them, and it shows how much their head weight is. So you can educate and document what their posture is. But then when you do an intervention, you can, if I come in, you can go ahead and compare.
As you're looking there, can you do this on site? Like, let's say that you're at a seminar or you're at a spinal screening. Like, can you use this for your spinal screening app instead of like school?
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's why I named it Posture Screen originally, was because it was fast to screen them to get them in to do something more complex in the clinic. But then it became a clinical app where it was tested for reliability and validity by outside our profession, from UCLA and other major universities actually use it in their lab. And so it became a clinical tool. So I would say more people actually use it in office now than use it out for spinal screenings, but it works great there. And we can do literally virtual spinal screenings as well too. But we don't have enough time to demo that. But we do functional stuff. Like if you do functional movement screens, it will predict the abnormal movement of the person. It links to the corrective types of exercises based off of what the overactive and underactive muscles are. And so we use this a lot. We have the major screens, and it doesn't matter what type of what you subscribe to, if it's FMS or SFMA or NASM's protocols. We report the data. You as a clinician choose what you want to do with the data. Does that make sense? Same thing with posture. You don't have to do CBP, but you can do whatever you want as long as you document.
Right, and you have reliability and repeatability. And how about any screening that you have available for like ergonomic setups and things like that?
Boy, you know my stuff better than me. I don't have
we didn't prepare ahead of time, but because I'm thinking larger scale with what we can do as chiropractors, because we are the posture experts, and everybody working from home, everybody on computers or iPads or iPhones, like posture is getting destroyed epidemically. So endemically, whatever word it fits that one, but it's
so you can do that. What's cool about this, we have a lateral seated analysis that you can see my screen. I don't have a patient pulled up with this. If you would have let me know that I was going through all of it, I would have. But what's cool about this is that you can do, say, a lunch and learn with an office. Teach them how to use a remote app. They can take pictures of themselves when they go back to their desks, and then it goes to the cloud, and you can actually digitize it at your office, what they sent to you through our remote app, and do virtual spinal screenings in their work environment.
Amazing. So these are all add-ons to Posture.
Yep. It's part of the subscription. Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful, man. So for time's sake, this is I'm gonna cut us at here because this has been so informative, man. I really hope, Genesis Nation, that you can jump on this and take advantage. This is a plug-in and an integration into your Genesis system, and also is just such a great tool for what you can provide for the public. So, dude, keep going, man. So whatever I can do to support and then push the word out. And if you haven't checked out CBP seminars, go say hello to Joe. He's super friendly. He is intense, but he's very friendly and very smart.
Passionate, right?
Passionate. Yes, we
Yeah.
both are. So thank you so much, man. This was
Thank you.
well, I want to do this again, and definitely we can dive into some more. Like I would love to, figure out how we can do that. So thank you.
Sure.
All right, man.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.